Alright, what's going on, y'all? Doing some art here. And some work done for the second character for the Shinkai school. So, enjoy. Just chilling out. Yeah, just relax, enjoy. I'm going to be running some streams in the backdrop while I'm watching also. While I'm sketching this character out, already have the concept down. I just got to do the virtual version and get him started up. So
you can get 25 to 300.
That is not what we're trying to do. All right, let's get this popping. Oh, shit, not synced up. There we go. Alright, let's put something on. Put on It's a Gundam. He's ridiculous.
Their mundane lives, but a parasocial masses lacking enough socialization to have real friends.
Oh,
the entire
Lord.
market for podcasting used to be cornered by washed-up.
Okay, let's see. So this one is more of a Bosozoku type of character. So let me just get this out of here. This sketch done. So it's a dark period in content creation.
He's sexy without knowing he's sexy, and that's really sexy.
The show Call Her Daddy. A podcast where women basically talk and make you realize that the red pill community wasn't some alt-right fringe group, but the canaries in the coal mine. Call Her Daddy started in 2018, hosted by Alex Cooper, who was dating Noah's Standard Card. I don't know this guy's name. Anyway, he was a pitcher for the New York Mets at the time. This led to her getting a show just because she was with this dude.
Alex Cooper's dating Noah Syndergaard, Mets pitcher. I knew Noah, so I followed her on Instagram, and I saw her cut a reel for Call Her Daddy. Saying, what was that? So I reached out to her. She came in, I met with her, and I was like, you made your
Alright, so
she's like, I learned how to do it all myself. And once
it's not the actual silhouette, I just wanted to get his sizing.
you're hired.
Okay. Alright.
Why is nobody talking about the hidden performance experiments connected to our U.S. military? Brilliant. Fine.
Sirtuins have a fuel deposit called NAD. So NAD is wonderful, but NAD has a size molecule that, as you probably know, needs a precursor called NMN to actually get into the body. For 2 years, top secret, they have been working with our military, with our special forces.
David Sinclair's team was testing this compound in mice. After just 14 days of M&M, the mice ran 200 to 300% more than even the youngest in the group. This has since been studied in human performance in the military resilience program with similar findings. This is about restoring mitochondrial function, helping the cells produce energy more effectively. NAD levels are high when you're young. When you're at the age of 40, it drops off by 50%.
So I already drew him earlier, so get how I wanted to look for the game.
Don't believe needlessly, Gary Bracker.
You know, NAD, it's actually not NAD, it's NAD+, and that little positive is the reduced form of NAD, which means that that charge can't really pass through the first pass of power.
Just
Drop NAD into the
so here we've got the bands.
It's about looking younger. It's about slowing the cellular decline that people accept as getting older and aging. Lower energy and slower recovery time, especially beginning your pump arm. Listen, you're Europe banned this stuff in 2022, but then again, it's Europe. They ban everything, even cute little dogs now. And they didn't do it for safety. They did it because it works a little too well. And the best part is that Black Forest has just launched the biggest deal of the year. Buy one, get one free. And that's insane. Yes, you heard that right. Buy one, get one free on their flagship NMN supplement. This ends in 48 hours. And when it's
Okay,
over,
that's what I
it's
wanted
gone for
about.
good.
But
The show before it really does anything but one reel gets a deal off the rip to be syndicated because she was boning a sports star at the time.
I don't want to hear another word from feminists speaking about the struggles of modern women in the Western world. A man has to lie into what a skinny white woman can want.
Actress and comedian Nikki Glaser says she enjoys seeing her boy from other women.
Dude, I've never heard of this woman. I've never seen this woman in my life. How is she acting as a comedian? I didn't know she existed until this clip.
You call this the hot husband fetish. Yeah. Which is essentially when you want your partner to have sexual experiences with other people outside of the relationship.
Yeah.
So when did this start for you, Nikki? Let's
It
go back.
started with my boyfriend when I was 29. Because I really hadn't had a boyfriend before that. He would tell me
Okay.
about,
that's
he would
basically the
ask me about,
form.
his hookups and his girlfriends and how they got
You
together.
know
Like,
what to
I was
do
really
also.
like, how did you
So
first know each other? Like, I love that,
deciding on whether or not I want to have him with a headband.
Stuff like that, I'd be like, so like, I don't know, it would make me just like think about him doing that with other girls, and then I'd ask about all of his like girlfriends or anyone he had hooked up with, like all the details about it, and I would really be like a foreplay for me. Like I would get like revved up talking about it, and then it reached a point where he was out of stories, like he had gone through all of them, and I was like, and then it's almost like he was telling the same ones, and I was like, I know this one, so it wasn't as exciting anymore because I was getting the same stuff, so I was like.
Okay, so he's a bit simpler in design, not as complicated with so many parts. So this shouldn't take as long to actually draw as far as the animation is concerned. Kind of a similar setup for Chin. So yeah.
This woman is a massive narcissist. In the pickup game, this is what we call string theory. When a cat can't have a string, it goes crazy trying to get it. But when the cat has a string, it loses interest. Women are exactly the same in dating more often than not. Never 100% be hers, or else you'll spend the rest of your life living like Will Smith.
And I asked her, I said, what did she think was, one of the biggest revelations that she had had about love? She said that you cannot make a person happy. That's it. I retire. I retire from trying to make you happy.
I think I need you to like
Gotcha.
advance my story.
You mean new material
Yes,
credits?
it's like I need you to like go out there and just have a flirty moment with someone, like anything where I can feel like maybe it's my competitive nature of like I want a guy who other girls want. Like I like something that is like you want a handbag that other girls are like, oh my god, I'm dying to get that.
That's relatable. That is relatable.
She might say she needs to know what she has is sought after by other women, or it has no value for her. Even when it comes to the man she's with, women like this will never truly be happy about it because
Who is this person he's talking about? This person sounds crazy.
external validation,
Okay, that's not bad.
stimulation, external confirmation. It's just a fact of life.
Actually, I think this foot should be more on his
I have
toes.
experienced that like masochism to a certain degree where I'd be like, tell me about every ex, tell me about all the things. Like that part of the beginning
Were
of
you
the
horned up for
relationship.
it, or were you like, I want to know because I.
No, it definitely like made me be like, okay, now I'm gonna.
He stays on his back tail with this one.
Okay, yes.
But then,
It's
but
like
then
showing their value, that they are valued by other women. Because they're women.
Now, when men talk about social proof and how women select men by their value in society for the fact that other women want this man, because women are hypergamous in nature, those men are called
Lord.
misogynists.
I'm glad that this show exists, and I'm glad this clip is out there.
What is he talking? I'm not getting into this. No.
this all comes back to hating them.
This is just insanity.
Find local help.
Some fighting game based place.
Community marketplace for fair prices.
Oh, Ren Sport. What's going on with Ren Sport?
We are 127 days into 2026, and yet, sim racing game Rensport has yet to release a single update. Not a hotfix, patch, or piece of DLC. no new mod-converted tracks, or shiny animated liveries. And that is deeply concerning for a title that was released in November last year and published a grand plan for the year ahead. So what the heck is going on?
Okay.
Well, a lot, as it turns out. And it's just another stumble in a fraught and fascinating journey so far. Time is running out.
Sure.
Heralded as more than a racing game during its unveiling, Rensport should have been an innovative new player in the sim racing space.
Actually, that should be
It
there.
was trying to push the envelope of competition, graphics, and realism. That hasn't been the case, at least not yet. At nearly every step of the way, from its 2020 inception to the precipice it faces presently, mistakes have been made.
Alright.
Market tastes changed.
I just need to figure out his face.
Let's run through the biggest stumbles to help us understand how it ended up in its current scenario, unable to release meaningful changes, and facing an
And
ever
then I'll be able to move on. Because I knew what I wanted to draw as face-wise, but then I changed it up too much.
competition company. A year later, it published a
Let's just get
website
an
that
idea
promised
of what we
digital
want to do.
wrestling, real adrenaline. Prosaic wording aside, what really caught the eyes of discerning sim racers, however, was a section entitled Real Digital Ownership. With Rensport, you can build your own legacy with individual cars, custom tracks, and much more. Your assets will be owned by you, and you can trade them through the marketplace of your choice. Vehicles would also be assigned their own unique e-bid. Ah, yes, that sounds remarkably
Okay.
like non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, digital trading items, such as images. According to Weeks, this is no longer a hype-driven market, but things went wild in late 2021 and early 2022.
Let's
OpenSea
see.
recorded an all-time high trading volume of $3.7 billion in January 2022, for instance. Also during that time, however,
Lord knows I got a lot of characters with headbands.
$100 million worth of NFTs were publicly reported as stolen between July 2021 and July 2022. In part,
Yeah, I could just make it where it's
dramatic
just-
market downturn. Slap bang in the middle of this
Yeah,
furore
that's what I
came
run
an
at.
unknown, untrusted operation with no gameplay and a website that promised something.
Let's make him more
that
roughhouse
somehow
looking then.
Scam. Scam is a term that's too often bandied about by hyperbolic social media commentators about games. But Rensport really did feel like
Keep
it
it
could be
simple.
one at the start. Does Traction believe it was one, however? No. We think it was misplaced intentions, trying to find a unique element against the likes of iRacing, while tapping into a trending topic.
Yeah.
Like trying too hard to look cool at a high school reunion, only in this case, instead of a nose lift and a convertible car, the aim was to tempt possible investors. Ineptitude, as opposed to malice. Which leads us to the launch event, held inside a former coal bunker in Munich, towards the end of May 2022. It started with co-CEO, yes, Rensport has two CEOs, Morris Becker, telling the room that Rensport was not a fucking NFT game. One of our favourite quotes among the Traction team, it was a bold, emphatic rebuttal to the naysayers. Whether it was a poor explanation on the website or a pivot following fierce feedback, when quizzed about NFTs, Becker told Traction that digital ownership was more about giving mod creators, community-made cars and tracks, a legalised path to revenue.
Really a dream of me is bringing these guys the opportunity to legalize these content so that we could help not having these content in a gray part of the gray area.
Can't keep it simple.
Of publishing.
Pressure says it's gonna be shrunken down.
Content and giving them the chance to monetize. These
Okay.
things are digital ownership for me.
But as it stands, there's no plans for tokens or blockchain.
Definitely not.
Despite this about turn, the project had dented from the off, although at this point, a mere blemish. Lack of progress. It was at this inaugural event that we got to see Rensport in action for the first time, and even test a work-in-progress build. We were told that it has been in development since sometime in 2020, and we could test a couple of GT3 cars around the Hockenheim ring, plus an electric Porsche up the Goodwood Festival Speed Hill Climb. It felt okay, actually. If this was the embryonic early stages ahead of a proposed release between a year and 18 months from this launch, we were cautiously optimistic.
And the key takeaway for me is it is a brand new simulation for racing cars. And I do think the industry needs an additional member to push everybody forward.
Okay.
Whether or not Rensport is that game, however, does remain to be seen. There's a lot of potential and all the ingredients are there for something spectacular. However, until we try AI racing, if there's any wet weather, tyre wear, pit stops, fuel strategies, online netcode stability. All these things right now remain an unknown.
A year on from that launch, and we visited Munich once more, but
Okay.
in a different venue. By now, our cynical
I'm gonna
side
keep them
had started
simple.
to appear. Progress seemed slow.
5 tracks, 7 cars. Is that really enough after a year of development? We're not so sure it is. However, that doesn't mean we
Alright.
found significant things.
Let's move on.
There was at
This
least
would
a
be
lot
that.
of modding. We were actually able to test 2 point-to-point routes, originally created for Assetto Corsa, converted into Unreal Engine. Visitors were informed that a series of mod tools had been created, and these were possibly even showcased behind closed doors. The potential for user-generated content piqued our interest, but then, nothing. Well, that's a slight exaggeration, but here we are, in the middle of 2026, and the expected flood of modded content isn't here. In the base game, there are so far Crest to Chorus by Nuke Drop and Orchard Road Street Circuit by Legion of Racers. Meanwhile, the mods we tried in 2023 are still not playable at home. Now, to Rensport's credit, it recently outlined a plan to open up the modding to more creators later this year for tracks, and such circuits would then be cross-platform. But we're talking over 3 years since we were led to believe mod tools were on the way. There isn't exactly a vast swath of tracks currently available, just 14, admittedly with more on the way, such as Sebring and Laguna Seca. But if the mod system was up and running by now, we're in little doubt it would help the player numbers. It still all feels relatively far away. The aforementioned revenue generation for the creators now also seems like a pipe dream. Esports.
Okay, so
A partnership was announced between the Sims
his head would have to be
and sports
separate.
giant ESL, a company purchased by the Saudi Arabian Public Investment.
One arm would have to be
Saudi
separate.
in
Okay, it's not that many layers.
We
I
witnessed
mean, I still gotta break them
the
up, but it's not gonna have to be as dramatic as it was for the Karate Girl. Not even
5
close.
months later, and the ESL R1 competition began with a ginormous $500,000 prize pool.
Okay,
Some
look, his
of the
legs
world's
are mad
best
long.
teams and drivers flocked to what should have been the turbocharge button for sim racing competitions, ditching drives in more established competitions in the process, live broadcasts, in-person finales around the globe, and gobs of money. What could possibly go wrong? Well, again, a lot. To begin, following the COVID-19 accelerated boom post-pandemic, sim racing esports was naturally contracting. Although, admittedly, that was not necessarily too predictable at the time, from within the sim racing bubble at least. Rensport and Saudi Arabia doubled down on their respective partnerships, with the title used for the sim racing portion of the Gamers 8 competition. Again, there was an oversized prize pool, this time $1 million. This was rebranded to the Esports World Cup a year later. And yet, there was a fundamental flaw. Viewers couldn't drive the game themselves.
There we go.
Because it wasn't finished.
Okay.
Unlike football, where anyone can have a kick about on a field with friends to get a hint of what it must be like to compete in the Premier League, ESL R1 was resolutely off limits. It felt less relatable. It also felt elitist, as there was no way for those at home to climb the sim
so that's his
ladder
idol.
to maybe one day compete, although that was always the publicly stated plan. It's just that the game's gestation took too long.
R1 is the pinnacle of our sporting system. So when it comes to the release, all the people jumping into Rensport have the chance to step in the sporting system and reach R1 at the end.
Okay.
So for us it's super important.
Alright,
It's
let's
a pinnacle of our
save.
sporting system, and so there is a long-term vision definitely.
Now, for 2026, the R1 competition is still going, and there is a route for players to enter via in-game qualifications. A welcome change, but we're talking 3 years since the first formal ESL R1 round in Poland. Oh, and note the name change.
Alright.
ESL and Rensport parted ways in 2025. The Esports World Cup, meanwhile, has replaced sim racing with Trackmania for this year's event. Put simply, we get the sense that too much emphasis, development time, and money was put into what Rensport calls the sporting during its gestation. The prize pools and
Let's get the
production
inks for his
seem like a
face
profligate distraction.
and get our base set up.
Opaque ownership. From the off, many speculated that it was a game backed by Porsche. Several of the early cars were from the German manufacturer. The brand also entered an official team in ESL R1. And then there's also the fact that many staff members actually had ties and connections with the German constructor. They all had more than a whiff of nepotism about it. And then there's the Saudi Arabia connection through both ESL and the Esports World Cup. Even today, people speak to Traction about Rennsport as if it's some sort of Porsche Saudi collab. However, last year the company did go on record to refute this. Rennsport is fully privately owned, privately backed, said a spokesperson. Not Porsche, not Saudi. What I can tell you is the competition company is owned by the founders themselves, together with a small group of private investors. If that's the case, it just seems too late, with industry rumours and Reddit threads claiming the exact opposite for several years. It wasn't the only curious investment-related case in relation to the platform either. Towards the end of 2023, Traction spotted a public LinkedIn post to an open tech investment presentation where Habecker talked about the company's targets for the years ahead. I've just stuck my car in the wall, but that's a good thing because you're going to need to be sitting comfortably and still when I tell you what I'm about to tell you. The targets were 670,000 paid subscribers and over 5 million active users by the end of 2027. Now, back then, Rennsport was aiming for a free-to-enter subscription model, and there are still over 18 months until the end of 2027. So we can't write off these aims just yet. Despite these caveats, with the benefit of hindsight, they do seem wildly unrealistic. Physics debacle. Still, if Rennsport's funding was the fulcrum of many an industry gossip section, the alleged physics system wranglings were much more public and much more damaging. Forum posts and website Racer Central claimed that it was using some of the same physics parameters as Studio 397 and Motorsport Game Simulation R-Factor 2. This was set against a backdrop where members of Rennsport developers Teon, subcontracted by a competition company, claimed that the physics in use were ground up original.
We are having here our custom physics engine, and that's working in parallel with all the Unreal stuff that's in place. So yeah, that's correct.
And they speak to each other, but it's technically a separate thing.
Exactly.
It all
Yeah.
feels like one thing to the player at the end of the day. And on the tyre model then, is that unique to Rennsport? Is that something that you've created?
This is a custom tire model, but it's based on some existing models that you can. They are described in very smart physics books, and you can read about them. Maybe let's not get into the details for today, but yeah, that's definitely a simulation, a pretty complex one. Yeah.
It led to an unprecedented statement published by Studio 397, which explained how it had not licensed technology to anyone else, before Rennsport fought back, stating that everything was licensed appropriately. A day later, Rennsport confirmed that it had indeed used off-the-shelf ISI motor technology, but that it had the ambition to create custom physics in the future. As it stands today, it's not yet been confirmed whether these custom physics have been implemented. Traction doesn't want to get involved in any potential legalese, so for now, I'll park this section and allow your imagination to do the rest. Late console and single-player change. Following more drama than an episode of EastEnders, last year it appeared like there was light at the end.
Okay, now problem, he looks a little bit too much like what's his name from KOF. I just realized, so we're gonna have to tune him up a little bit facially. Let's do his body next.
This also meant a change in
Doing
pricing
good.
model. Following a bizarre rollout that included a closed beta with very limited access, then a somewhat flat open beta release with optional founders packs that put the Nürburgring Nordschleife behind a paywall before early access, version 1.0 would follow a traditional upfront pricing model, with the betas and early access versions struggling to find an audience on PC, and the console market largely starved of sim racing titles. These additional versions made sense on paper. However, this decision came relatively late in the day, and so did the creation of a single-player campaign with computer-controlled rivals. It was a very demanding technical challenge, cross-platform and also on short notice, with the console decision to squeeze everything in, said co-CEO Marco Unyasa. Long story short, from a technical and from a team perspective, performance was good. Consoles were worth it because we saw the gap in the market there, and it paid off. Honestly, the release on console didn't go too badly. We had to catch up a lot on PC, but on console, it was an okayish start. Heading into the Sim Racing Expo last October, Rennsport had a sizable presence with a historic Alfa Romeo 155 that had racing in PTN, signaling that future content won't just be contemporary race vehicles. But we also tried a work-in-progress version of the single-player AI, and it was concerning, so close to the full release, but
That just speeding consistency there before my race. We've got a massive crash in the back there. Our BMW's heads up on his roof. The BMW is still on his roof over there.
Still, no matter, as in November, it left early access on PC and was released on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Rensport existed. The team had shipped a game. And it was riddled with bugs, and in many places, clearly not finished. But given the trials and tribulations to that point, it was an achievement to hit 3 platforms. The cross-platform systems and online netcode were actually good too, which must have been a Herculean effort. That single-player experience though, ouch. By far and away the most egregious issue right now is the performance of the single-player rivals. The AI is completely and utterly crazy, simply unraceable. In our review, we had only 5 out of 10 score, and since then, the rate of patches and bug fixes was rapid. No less than 4 updates were pushed out across all 3 platforms after the November release, before the end of December 2025. The changes, too, felt appropriate. It looked as though the team were truly listening to feedback. All was not lost. Nacon insolvent. This year started off strongly too, with the announcement of a new free track, Kuala Lumpur Street Circuit, another mod conversion no less to boot. A campaign of unveils began in earnest, with a couple of short track layouts and the first in-game shots of the first DLC, Endurance Classics Part 1. It was all slowly building to one large patch, with fixes, enhancements and new content slated for March. Well, we're in May, and it's still not been released. In February, Traction was invited to Munich, the same coal bunker venue as the very first Rensport Summit 4 years prior. It was a full circle moment. Now, instead of the bold claims, a cool, calm, understated team greeted the assembled media. We were shown a roadmap which explained that following the major March update, Laguna Seca and Sebring will be added for free in April, and an all-new single-player AI system was in development. There was a renewed plan for community-made tracks, with a sensible rollout goal, and talk of price cuts. Rensport was back, and the team knew it. Except, a day before we travelled, we'd heard that Nacon was in trouble, and the relationship between them and Rensport had broken down. On the 25th of February, Nacon filed for insolvency, and just hours later, Rensport announced that its publishing deal was over. This is a seismic event, after everything Rensport has been through, to release a game, start patching it, and then fall over again. No matter, it would now be self-published, but that's not the work of a moment. We've actually played the DLC and update originally slated for March, which was then moved to April with an adjusted roadmap, but that has been scrapped too, and instead, there's hope the update arrives this month in May. With a bit of luck, maybe it arrives just after this video is released, but even then, surely it impacts the rest of the plan. May is our most important goal for the near future, said the company in a statement. We are done with best case scenario dates. We will only announce specifics when the code is verified. We've taken full responsibility for the path behind us, and we are now choosing the steady precision of an endurance race over the noise of short-term hype.
Okay.
We can't help but think this game's story is one of
Should be pretty simple. Let's split them up.
mistakes, a lack of development
It's
resources,
the body,
and
pretty
some
much.
unfortunate events.
Don't really need to separate it unless it's an attacking arm. And this arm is mostly just dangling.
Executed too late in the day, and the console publisher encountered financial challenges. Yet, poor messaging around digital ownership, curious investment tactics, and straight up lying about custom driving physics also played significant roles. Certainly, without the ability to release patches, the player base isn't going to grow. Without releasing DLC packs, revenue will stagnate. This is far from an ideal scenario, but it's not over just yet. Yes, digging through the past must be painful for the people working diligently behind the scenes on Rensport, but it's important context, and elements that we hope can finally be put to bed if it can manage to self-publish and start delivering the tweaks and content it has planned. Having another sim racing title out there is generally good for our niche. Competition pushes everyone forward. For Rensport though, everyone else moves while it remains still. The clock is ticking.
Somewhat similar to Chin's, but not really. With the jacket. It's his almost directly Yankee style school uniform. What the hell? My stream is on the screen. Okay. Actually looks nice on stream. Okay, well, let's change that. That just looks crazy. Let me look at it myself. I already got it on OBS. The new Star Fox.
Now, Fox and his wingmen return in their own Nintendo Switch 2 game. This game is called Star Fox.
That's it.
I'll pass it over to Koizumi-san.
It's just Star Fox. Okay, everyone.
I'm Yoshigaki Koizumi.
Oh, bro.
From here on, for this presentation.
All right.
It's based on the Nintendo 64 game, Star Fox 64, but the visuals have been completely updated. All of the characters in the game have also been redesigned.
All right.
So let's take a look.
Oh, shit.
Okay, my waistband.
Corneria.
So this is the remake of Star Fox. Okay, so I wasn't bugging when I first saw the preview. I was like, this looks like it took like all the parts of Star Fox 64 and a lot of stuff that they planned that they didn't get the chance to do. I mean, some people are ragging on it. I don't know. I mean, it looks beautiful though. Damn, that is gorgeous. Yo, I mean, I know it's a remake, but damn. That is detailed ship design. That looks beautiful. Whoa, look at that ship design on the freaking... Oh, that looks dope. The characters look dope. Hey! Falco! Falco! Yo, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This made me want to get a Switch. Switch 2. I know it's pure nostalgia. I know. Listen, the game is basically a remake of Star Fox 64, so you should expect. For better or worse. Yeah, major update to say the least. Good God, this looks beautiful. Honestly, yeah, for Star Fox 64, yeah. Oh, nice. They got some cool looking cutscenes of him talking to. This looks cool, man. I'm sorry. It looks cool. And I'm pretty sure it is nostalgia calling. I'm not gonna lie, it is. But it looks good. It'd be wrong. It'd be different if it looked like crap. This looks dope. Keep them fairly simple so I can draw them over. Not trying to make the same mistakes I made with the Karate Girl. It was a lot.
He was a pilot with Fox's father. He's the old man. I heard this real well. So good.
It looks good. I'm not gonna lie. It looks good. It looks great, even. Nice. Charge shot. Okay. Buttons.
So does that mean you're gonna have to tank too? Use the boost to get through.
Roll to repel enemy fire.
Do a what?
An even somersault.
Ooh. Oh, that's a tank.
An agile ground assault vehicle called the Landmaster.
I always like playing a tank more.
And a
Got you
non-fire
underwater.
exploratory submersible called the Blue Marine can also be piloted, depending on the mission.
Nice.
Holy shit.
It looks good, man. I'm sorry, it looks good. I know people got some complaints that it's another remake. I understand, but this looks good, man. I mean, not for nothing. If people can praise the Resident Evil remake, I don't see why it's a bad thing to not to praise this as well. I mean, it looks just as good. From the preview. I don't know how it is for the final. Obviously, it could be some things change and, you know, blah, 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 blah. But from what I'm seeing, looks good.
System's scorching hot second star.
Yeah. Damn.
And Zone Nest is a deserted, polluted ocean planet
I remember
that
this
is
island.
with all its natural resources.
Hmm.
There's also an asteroid
All right.
to navigate. Persistent laser tech. And the inside of the
Let's get
nebula.
his shooter arm.
From planet surfaces to outer space, a variety of stages await.
I know it's left arm anyway, but just put left arm anyway.
And massive boss battles. You can look forward to intense aerial combat.
It looks good. Yes, it just looks good.
Depending on the objectives you complete, the number of enemies shot down, and other factors,
Yeah.
the route you take through the system may change.
Mission accomplished was whenever you unlock a hard mode.
Replay stages with a different approach to find ways through that are off the beaten path.
Yep.
You better be right about this, Falco. I say we trust Falco this stage.
Damn.
You worry about your own.
Plenty of new cutscenes have also been added.
Alright.
These include never-before-seen mission briefings between stages, allowing you to learn more about the characters and the Star Fox universe.
Call in, team. How we doing?
You can choose between easy,
Easy, normal,
normal,
expert.
and expert difficulty
Oh
settings.
shit.
Nice.
When playing on
Oh,
easy
shit.
difficulty, your shield gauge will be longer, and your lasers will remain powered up, making it ideal for novice pilots.
If you're a big idiot, challenge mode.
In challenge mode, you can replay stages you've already cleared.
Uh-huh.
Complete a variety of objectives that bring new challenges to
Furries
each
are gonna have a
mission
field day with
that you
this?
won't find in the campaign.
Yeah.
He said furries are gonna have a field day with this. I mean, yeah.
The Lone Red Shogun Trooper.
Take on these challenges on either normal or expert difficulty.
Damn.
Battle mode goes with 4 versus 4 dogfights. Players are split between Team Star Fox and Team Star Wolf. Then compete to earn
bad
bonus
guys.
points by clearing missions and
That
taking
sounds
down
cool.
foes.
Damn.
You can select from 3 stages, each with its own
Yo,
rule
what
set.
the fuck? This is awesome.
Yes, it is.
Take out opponents and seize control of
This
the
looks
zone.
very awesome to me. I don't understand the complaints. I'm not gonna lie. From what I'm seeing, this looks dope.
Star Fox completed the objective. Collect as many energy crystals as you can while dodging meteorites on
So they have like different modes and shit for it too? God damn.
Alright.
The first person in chat that said this, I thought they were meaning. I was about to ban them.
Star Fox completed the objective.
I was like, bro, shut up.
You can create private matches with your friends online, or match up with random players from around the world, making for a variety of ways to join team
Probably don't
battles.
need the neck because I just cut off the collar. I think, how am I gonna be settling this? His head would be behind the body. So then we don't need this neck
Wow.
border.
That's really cool.
By holding your Joy-Con 2 controller like a mouse, you can seamlessly swap to mouse-controlled targeting for intuitive aiming and steering.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That is an awesome design. I don't, again, don't understand the complaints.
Two controllers with a second player. You can split pilot and gunner duties in co-op.
Sure it's a trash place.
Okay, I think that's the... No, not, I guess I gotta just feet. Do I want to do feet separate? Yes. It's annoying, but you got to. Let's get this in your own folders. Body. Looks great. It looks great. It looks great.
Like, if I go back and I think about
Switch 2 system, Star Fox launches June 25th.
that's in a fucking month. Damn.
By the way, this game also supports character avatars, which let you change your face in game chat to look like a character. Like this.
God damn. The Switch 2, yeah.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. They got motion tracking cap. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my god.
I don't understand the complaints. Yeah, this is a furry heaven. This is gonna be a furry heaven. Yo, once they got facial tracking. Oh god, it's over. It's over. It's over. The shippers are gonna be going insane. Call it what it is. Oh god. Yo, they went all out on this. What are the complaints? I'm sorry, I don't even have a Switch and this makes me want one.
That's the one I played.
The Star Fox series has had a long legacy on Nintendo platforms.
Not long enough.
This looks awesome. This is on a cube. Of course, the Smash Brothers saga. Okay, left foot.
If you've never experienced the series before, we hope you'll give Star Fox a try.
Man, I'm happy.
Finish this presentation by sharing the game's prologue, which depicts a past battle involving James McCloud, father of the protagonist Fox.
You gotta be kidding me.
Thank you very much.
A prologue with James McCloud. You know what? It looks fantastic. I don't understand the complaints I was seeing online. And what's worse is that some people were trying to use indie gaming as like a... I don't know. This looks good, bro. I'm sorry. It looks good. James McCloud mission. And it's a nice voice actor.
And thank you for accepting this mission, James. You're the only one who can and the general pattern. Do you read me? Oh shit. Something's jamming long-range comms. Stay sharp, team.
Are you seeing this, James? According to my measurements, the atmosphere is highly toxic.
And we're doing this job for next to nothing? We're supposed to be mercs, not chumps. There's more at stake here than our bottom line there.
And hopefully they don't do nothing weird with the story. Let's leave it at that. Okay, that's a bit large, but we'll shrink it. Okay, right foot. Perched on his toe.
Dr. Andros made mistakes. Paid the price for them. But whatever else he is a genius. Maybe he found a way to survive. Our leader. Such a bleeding heart. Uh-oh.
Where'd they come from?
Defensive formation. Hey, Pop, where are you going? It's like you told me. I'm getting into
You guys are idiots.
I forgot this completely. He's charged it. I can't shake you.
Okay, cool. Alright. Alright. Left foot, right foot. Alright, sketch, go. Nice detail. Body.
That's important. Happy? Keep an eye on Fox.
But they just showed the whole cinema. You don't get to play it? Like, they just showed the whole thing.
Man. That was fucking cool.
I mean, it was, but they showed the whole thing.
I'll be real. That
All right.
I'm happy. I'm happy, bro. Like, they did.
Yeah, they cooked with this. I'm sorry, they did. They just did.
They add in some of the original levels too. I do.
Oh, of course they are.
This is really
That's
good.
what they
Yeah,
definitely gonna
this
do
is
that.
Awesome, man.
Okay, so
I
this is
love
the
it.
belt.
Check the views, the amount of people that watched it. 100, dude. So they just randomly announced this.
124,000. As of 20 minutes, well, like 24 minutes ago on when this was airing.
Holy fuck, man. Well, I'm not surprised. But
Okay,
like,
now we're gonna have them in a similar color scale.
Let me see. It's frozen. Yeah, it's not going to show anymore. And they avoided Star Fox Zero. Yeah, I guess so. Star Fox fan community. Yeah, type of nostalgia I like. Yeah, that was great, dude. I loved it, man. I did. Like, that was really, really cool. It's exactly, like, this is exactly what I would expect it to be. Like, the only thing is I wish they had done a new story. But if they're willing, like, if they're going to revamp and, like, bring the series back, then I think it does kind of make sense that, like, you probably have to, like, you know, redo the story. But, like, hopefully if this goes well, then make another one. Because this is really, really cool. This is 100% better. Well, what I'm assuming they're going to do is they're probably going to have harder difficulties and there'll probably be extra stages. Because that's what they did with, like, adding Star Fox 2, remember? Like, whenever they made, like, the Super Nintendo, like, really small one. So, like, I would expect that they probably have more stuff planned for this.
Project.
If it goes well, like DLC or something else. Look at the comments. Some aren't liking the designs already. Well, I don't know about that.
Great. Color. Get your base done.
Really, really good. Yeah, got the cover of
That.
SNES. Yeah, exactly.
That's
bro.
right.
Like, I mean, that's the way. That's what I think that they would look like, right? I mean, like, let me see. Is there like an image of like all four of them there? Like, I mean, this is like in my mind, whenever I was a little kid, like, this is 100% what I remember. Like, there's no character inside of this that, like, whenever you upscale it to this model, like, this is what I imagine. Fox is a little husky. I can see why you say that. I can see why you say that. It's not big, but, like, yeah, sure. It's Random Wednesday, and we now have an update release date for a Star Fox game. Wow. Can't believe Mario 65 got shadow dropped at the end there. Yeah, really funny. We're shadow dropping Nintendo Directs now. Like, what the fuck is this, man? Oh, like how no one knew this was gonna happen. Yeah. This just came out of fucking nowhere. Like, I didn't expect this at all. Like, okay, so now, alright, now that we're getting Star Fox, the next step is F-Zero. Okay? F-Zero, and the final one is a spiritual successor to Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask,
You just want everything.
The Twilight Princess. Okay, we are moving in the right direction. Now we will begin. Because this will probably be the first game that I play on my Switch, like, when it's out, man. Like, that's it. This is fucking awesome, man. This is a rare modern day Nintendo win. Yeah, I think it is. I think this is really cool, man. This is awesome. I love it. I'm super fucking excited, man. This is great. I don't really have anything else really to say.
There's no complaints for me. I don't even got the console.
Yeah, and also this is another thing too, is that like the graphics for this, I mean, these are good. Like it's the perfect mix between, like, this is what Nintendo I feel like should focus on, right? Creating very well stylized, because like if you really zoom in on these characters, they're not incredibly detailed, right? Like if you look at like Falco,
They're
like,
very
not
well
really
detailed.
But like the direction of this, like the art direction of this and the style of it is so strong that it doesn't even matter. It's perfect. It doesn't make a difference at all. So more realism would ruin it. Exactly. So they have like the perfect mix of it being like realistic while at the same time it has like a cartoony feel to where you're not trying to compare it to real life. And yeah,
Well, we aren't. Give it a few.
Like I do feel like the graphics for this, like, cause am I the only person that's felt like the Nintendo has fallen behind too much in graphics?
Well, it's because they don't have the most powerful console, so they don't have the graphic advantage anymore. But if anything, they just have to worry about just art direction, and that's what they're doing very well with.
It's like worse than like a PS4. Like it's just weird, right?
PS4 is more than enough, especially for a handheld. Like, how much more fidelity do we need, for real? When you really think about it.
It was a 64-bit system. It was the first one there was. So, like, now they're doing this. I'm very, very
The first
happy.
official
I am.
one.
This is great, man. And
Yeah, I'm sorry. I understand some of the complaints from my fellow indie game community, but on normal basis, I mean. For something like this, I don't know. This looks great.
And you can see kind of like
There's a lot of effort into it. It looks like they put a lot of work. Hopefully there's nothing wrong with the story, but we should be okay. If they just basically remaking it.
I love this game. I do. And so like I felt nostalgic one day and I watched halfway through it. And so yeah, so I'm super hyped out for this. I'm very happy. The game holds up well. Yeah, it does. It was recent too. And so yeah, there you go. Only half? What is an hour-long video, right? It's because consoles are tiny, handhelds, I guess, right? I'm just giving you my
Like, that would be
feedback,
too
that's
typical.
still the way I feel about it. It's the way I think about it,
Keep
right?
it as the
But,
black.
yeah, anyway, that was really cool. That was really cool. That's awesome. I can't believe they just randomly shadow dropped. They randomly shadow dropped. My
Star
expectations
Fox.
were high, but
Real.
holy fuck. This is Miyamoto, bro, like, damn, bro, what the fuck? I don't even know what it is. Like, oh my god.
It looks great, man. I'm sorry. I cannot side with the complaints. It looks fantastic. The game looks great. I don't get the complaints. I don't think of complaints. I get that it's another remake. Yes. Perfectly viable complaint there. But is that a bad thing? Because we were just enjoying Resident Evil. You know what I'm saying? We were all just singing his praises equally. As should. It deserves so. It's really well done. So, I mean, I don't know. Clearly it's me. He needs more.
Falco would take a fucking risk for you, man. Falco's Han Solo, exactly. And yeah, 100%. The thing is the best in Pigma. I forgot all about Pigma.
Goodness,
And yeah, listen to some of the classic one-liners. There's a lot of those, man. And honestly, perfectly balanced
Look
team.
at the arm.
Yeah, it was so good, man. And Falco would take a bullet for you. At the end of the day, he would.
Yes, he would. Falco would take a bullet for you. Because Falco's the man.
Next time, okay? And the new Star Fox game.
Ay.
That is fucking insane. Especially like what a fast release too. Like it just happened out of nowhere. Oh my god. Like this is great. I'm so happy.
It looks fantastic. I got no complaints. Again, I don't even own the console, and I want to right now.
Amazing fucking day.
So.
Nobody can afford video games anymore. Yeah.
Guys, we're in some serious trouble. Gaming has been getting more expensive by the year, but right now it's about to get more expensive by the day. It already has. The same components that I have in my PC right now cost twice as much as they did just 2 years ago. RAM just rose by 200% in just the last 2 months.
Is RAM having what GPUs had like 4 years ago? Is that what's happening?
And I know some people are going to look at this and say, oh, well, this is a
Yes.
PC problem. No, all these different components, they're used in just about everything.
I'm not as familiar with it.
else. Everything is going to get dragged up with dollars. What's happening right now is that AI is taking over the world. Who would have guessed?
Wow.
And these data centers are doing everything they can to be able to keep up with this AI gold rush because everybody wants a piece of that money.
Yeah.
And that's pushed these guys to raid the consumer market.
Nah, it could do some funkiness with the color syncing,
Same thing happened.
considering that he's Bosozoku style. Like I could start messing around with the colors, so we're gonna do that. But let me get his. Also, I got to get his skin tone right. I might want him to have a slightly darker skin tone.
You're gonna be a scammer. You gotta try to hide it a little bit, but these guys don't even want to bother hiding it anymore.
No, they don't. People just eat this shit, man. They let it happen.
They're not trying to do anything
Yep.
to fix any of these issues. They're not scrambling to fix any of these supply issues. Instead, they're milking it. They're keeping their production tight. They're raising the prices, and they're using AI as the best excuse possible for them to just continue to take advantage of regular people, to squeeze you harder than they ever have before. And they're doing it all with governments backing them. They're going to drag this out as long as they possibly can, because every single month they keep these prices higher, they're just going to continue to rake in record profits.
I think that the companies probably want to produce more of them. It's just that you can't make a supply chain change that fast. I mean, just realistically, like, you can't do that.
And today, what I want to do,
and like, that's what happened with, like, the graphics cards, like, 4 or 5 years ago. Wrong? Like, look into it. The fact is that sometimes the markets can move so fast that these companies aren't able to adapt to them. Like, another good example is cars. Like, we've had the same issue with cars, especially with, like, different, I think it was semiconductors that were, or like some sort of chipset for cars where it was hard to even buy new cars. It's everything. It's controlled by them. I think that realistically it's probably both. I think that there is a degree of manufacturing scarcity, but there's also a degree of just a realistic supply chain scaling logistics reality.
He looks very much like Gogo. Like Duke Togo almost. You know, I'll keep it. That's a happy accident. Alright, let's see.
This video is sponsored by Display, and right now they are running their biggest sale of the year. From now until the end of their campaign,
I got a display. An ex-girlfriend sent me a display of Dark Souls 3, and I put it up, and I remember reading this thing. It said, "Don't put this on something that's an uneven surface." And I'm thinking to myself, who the fuck do I ever read? And so I just put it up against an uneven surface. And I remember about an hour later, I heard the loudest sound. The loudest sound. And it was right there. So it was like, it started banging down the fucking stairs. And like, yeah, what's the worst that can happen? The worst did happen. Yep.
Okay.
I don't know why Israel would do that to me, man. How could this happen?
% off site wide using my code legendary at checkout. 1 to 2 metal posters for 37% off, 3 to 4 for 43, 5 or more
Kinda
for
like that.
46. The full breakdown is going to be in the pinned comment and on the on-screen banners, but this is the best deal that you're going to see all year. This place is high-quality metal posters, no tools, no frames, no wall damage. You just stick a magnet to the wall, snap the poster on. It only takes seconds, and these guys have over 1 million designs to be able to choose from. Games, anime, movies, fantasy, tech, you name it. And they're still running their officially licensed Path of Exile 2 collection. I definitely check that out. I got a full set that was sent over to me, and every single one of these looks incredible in person.
You know, like, I don't know if I ever told this story, but S-Fan had some of the fan art that was made for us in Classic WoW. And it was like in a Classic WoW beta, and he had them made in displays, and he was giving them out. And he had a small one made for my dad, and he gave it to me to give to my dad. And my dad had it at like his table, a small one. It was like me, S-Fan, and then McConnell, like looming over us like he's a fucking, like Merlin or something. Like a fucking wizard.
Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more personal, check out their custom gift plates. You can upload your own images, photos, arts, memes, whatever you want. Maybe a family portrait, and turn it into a gift-worthy metal print just in time for the holidays. Use code LEGENDARY to check out. Hit the link in the description.
Probably an
to take
AI doll.
advantage of this
A
year's
dog doesn't
release.
exist.
We have talked a lot about prices on this channel, and we are going to continue to talk about prices on this channel because if there is one thing that I actually want to bring to this space, it is awareness. Most people feel helpless when they see these prices spike. They feel like they're being pushed out of their own hobby, like decisions are being made for them by people who don't even care about games in the first place.
Let's keep it the
But
same
the more
format, why
you
not?
guys understand what's happening, the easier it is to see the pattern. And guys, navigating what's coming next is going to get very hard, very fast. After we revealed the Steam Machine, the first thing I saw was everyone arguing about the price. A lot of people were convinced it needed to be $500 or $700.
It's gonna be $1,000. I think it's gonna be $1,099.
Oh, that's open over
That
there.
is my expectation. And I have bet 5 giveaways that if it is beyond plus minus $100 of that, I will give away 5 Steam machines to the community. That's where I'm at.
Dollars at max, and that Valve should subsidize it to bring in more users. A whole different topic for another video because Steam does not need a loss leader to get more people through the door. But I took the time to actually dig into the hardware costs and ended up chiming in on Twitter saying that Valve isn't posting the price because they're hoping that things change. The AI bubble has pushed RAM to obscene levels, almost 200% this year. People are saying it should be $500. That's the price of RAM alone.
$500. Like, who thought that was gonna happen?
Now, this is a
Who
bit
is that?
hyperbolic. Sure, I was using the highest-end hardware prices, but the more I research this trend, it's hard
I mean, a lot of us were
to
hoping.
not for Valve console,
But, you know, it's also before everything started kicking off so crazily.
skyrocket across the board. All of it's tracing back to rapid data center expansion, a tidal wave of investment that's been poured into AI. According to Stanford, the U.S. has almost already spent $110 billion into private investment just in 2024. Global spending in generative AI is already up 600% between 2022.
Oh my god, look at that graph. Total investments of billions of dollars. Jesus.
In 2024, and in 2025, that number is estimated to hit $1.5 trillion. With that kind of money flying around, AI firms are expanding their data centers and buying up existing hardware at a pace that consumers simply cannot compete with. That demand alone is enough to be able to drive these prices through the roof, and that's before you even factor in scarcity. I feel like I'm losing my mind. How many people
Alright. Yes, no, maybe so.
They've been doing it all year. We covered it on this channel, but this isn't about trade policy. This is an increase. It's driven by raw demand for components, and everyone is just letting these hardware companies and these software companies spin whatever narrative they want, whatever narrative benefits them, with almost no pushback at all. How has nobody questioned this? These are.
I think that the reason why is that, I mean, number one, tariffs are a more convenient thing for the media to use because they can blame that on Trump. So if you look at, like, this is the same thing with, like, I think eggs are a great comparison here. The reason why the price of eggs was so high towards the end of Biden's presidency is because there was an avian flu that went around and killed all the birds. That's the main reason why. It's not because of Biden. It didn't go down because of Trump.
It's basically this color.
A third-party thing that happened, and both parties were trying to blame and then assign blame or avoid blame for this thing. Biden gave the birds the flu on purpose, or maybe he did. I don't know. He could be a wizard. But the point that I'm making is that, yes, I think that this is the same thing that happened with tariffs. Is that media will never look at, because media is either trying to portray Trump as great or Trump as awful. So because Trump is aligned with tariffs, you're not going to get any sort of realistic, any sort of like actual like information about this. You're not going to get a nuanced opinion on why the price of something is going up whenever you look at CNN or Fox News, because that's not what their goal is.
Software companies are making record money off of the AI boom. They're selling hardware by the truckloads to
multi-class
these
as
data
well.
center giants. They're soaking up billions of dollars
That's what Trump
into
said.
investment, and they're still not expanding production for consumers. Instead,
think that the reason why they're not expanding production is that a lot of these tech companies, I think, are waiting for what they believe is coming, which is some sort of like large technological innovation that is like in the process of being discovered or arrived upon. And I think that's the reason why you haven't seen a massive scaling of production lines. That's the reason why you haven't seen a massive increase in supply chains or anything like that. Quantum computing, yeah. Like people don't know what is AGI, what is quantum computing going to be, and how will it function and change our lives on a day-to-day basis, and how you actually, fucking
With the
make
wrong
something,
tone.
and how valuable is it? Like a good example of this is cloud computing. Cloud computing, like we all know that in 50 years we're going to be using cloud computing for basically everything, right? Like this is obviously where things are going. But the question is,
All right. That actually may be solid.
But when it happens is the question. And I think these companies don't want to invest into something that they feel like is a short-term gain.
Height, they're raising prices, they're pouring all that new money into high bandwidth memory.
Might be solid.
They could ease the pressure on the consumer market.
Oh boy. Alright, so let's see. What did I draw for his I already knew what I just redraw it.
Feeding the AI expansion that's only going to just make all of this so much worse. Gizmodo only recently picked up on this issue with an article titled "We're So Screwed," written by Kahl-One, where Barr wrote,
I don't like this article because it reminds me of the Starforge website. It does. This looks just like the Starforge website. Like, what the fuck?
We've been reporting about the spiking cost of RAM prices since October. Essentially, AI data centers have such demand for memory.
Solid silhouette.
SSDs, DRAM, and
I'm gonna
HDDs
overdo
are
it.
all ballooned in price. This is most keenly felt in the discrete PC RAM
Alright.
Corsair, one of the most
Start
popular
on
brands for fast gaming-ready RAM.
keys for your attack.
Prices have increased in response to the severe supply shortage we're seeing across the industry. And it just keeps getting worse. A pack of 64 gigabytes of RAM from memory brand Crucial spiked from $150 to more than $400 in just 2 months.
Wow. That's insane. I didn't know it was that big.
Things like Amazon price.
I mean, I haven't bought anything like a new computer thing at all. Like, is this true? I'm assuming this is true, right?
Alright. New one.
But users will inevitably find that the more RAM they want, the more it's going to cost. 4 sticks of 16 gigabyte DDR5 RAM from Corsair now sells for an astronomical $688.
Get back to more design later.
Before, this is the way it always used to be. It was GPU, CPU, RAM, and then maybe motherboard and power supply underneath of that. In terms of like cost for a computer. Holy shit!
The same sticks in white demand $948.
I'm doing a sketch.
Guys, I want you to know that this is nothing like the crypto boom that we saw just a few years ago, where GPU prices were driven by a hype cycle that eventually died. AI is far more of a tangible technology. It is going to keep expanding.
It's totally different than crypto.
I think it's going to keep improving, and it's going to keep getting massive support from corporations worldwide. Yes, there is forming something similar to the .com era, where only a few players are actually going to owning the market. But even when that first happens, the winners are just going to buy up the losers' data centers, and they're just going to continue to grow. Even if
that's actually a really good point that he's bringing up.
Okay.
Whenever there is a consolidation of companies and consolidation of businesses, like what happened after the .com boost or boom, is that you're probably not going to have a reduction in data centers. You're not going to have a reduction in like the amount of resources. There's just going to be a reduction of names, the different names on those resources. What about monopoly laws? Well, I don't know, man. Why don't you ask Apple?
Expansion slows. It's still not going to fix anything for us. Keep in mind, after the crypto
So his
crash,
startup,
GPU
we'll do the same way we did with her.
So hardware prices,
they went down, but he's right that they didn't go back to normal. This is one of the nastiest fucking things that companies do, and they did this with like McDonald's did this. Is that like they took the COVID pricing and then they made that the new normal.
Might come down eventually, sure, but they're never going to go back to what we used to pay.
Yeah.
And this is not something that's just going to be.
Yeah, they go up 100% and then they go down. Like let's just assume that all the numbers are the same. Like 80% So you're still paying theoretically 15% more.
To memory or GPUs, it's going to stretch across every piece of computer hardware, gaming PCs, handhelds, consoles, phones, everything. It makes getting into the hobby, upgrading your setup, or even just replacing something that breaks insanely expensive for everyday
Shifts his
use.
weight
I think
this
that's
way.
exactly what these companies want right now. They want to squeeze customers harder than they ever have while raking in all this investment and government backing, all to feed these business-to-business sales while the rest of us are going to deal with the fallout. At this rate, the hardware market is going to become completely inaccessible for most people.
I think this is true in the immediate sense. I feel like if it doesn't change in like 2 years, you are going to say you're either going to have new players come into the space that offer something that's better.
Oh yeah, I gotta shrink his
or
feet.
you're going to
His
see
feet are
a
too large.
Technology change where it's more accessible. Like just realistically, like you can't leave a unanswered market for too long.
His feet are too
Because
large.
if you do,
We'll worry about
you
that
can have
later.
other people come in and answer it for you.
People talk about how the Steam machine needs to be
So guys, all you have to do is just not play video games.
Okay, $700 at most. These guys do not know how fast these prices are moving right now. The costs have ballooned so much that I can easily see every single major console that's coming in the next couple of years costing over $1,000.
Yeah, there it is.
Now I know some people are going to say, well, that's not going to work. Nobody's going to buy hardware.
I think that they will. I think that people don't understand how big of a wealth gap and how big of an equality gap we have in the country. The top 10% of income in America is like $150,000
So it shifts up.
It's a ridiculous amount of money. People think that it's still like 2008. No, like it's like everybody else. It's kind of like, let's say you're playing an MMO, and like 30% of the population bought the expansion of Burning Crusade, and you're sitting there and you're still in Classic. Well, what do you mean you guys have armor penetration? What? You can get that? Oh wow!
These prices, and honestly, I think that's exactly what some of these companies have found. Nearly every major publisher in the gaming industry has gone all in on AI. EA just announced a partnership with Stability AI. Ubisoft has come back from their little media silos with new AI skills and a push for AI teammates to replace making acts.
Says AI teammates will make gaming more engaging and accessible. And again, I love Dragon's Dogma. This idea isn't bad. The implementation of it is sometimes better.
With friends, which is incredibly bleak, but the clearest example here is Microsoft.
I know somebody who she talks to ChatGPT on a regular basis.
Who does this? They poured billions of dollars into OpenAI and Anthropic, and they've committed another $80 billion to AI-enabled data centers. They are directly feeding into the same expansion that is driving hardware costs through the roof. The same expansion that they blamed on tariffs. It is a mutually beneficial relationship for them, not for us. Guys, this is the oldest trick in the corporate playbook.
Well, this is the same reason companies are like, oh yeah, things are so hard with COVID, so we have to make things more expensive. Okay, well COVID's over. Are you gonna make them less expensive? Oh man, things are so hard with tariffs. We're gonna have to keep things being so expensive.
Create a problem and then sell the solution. If people can't afford gaming hardware anymore, well, that becomes the perfect opening to be able to push cloud gaming, where you don't need to have a console or a PC, just a screen and a subscription. I talked about this in my video. This is the last warning, where I argued that Microsoft was pushing prices higher on purpose to be able to funnel players into cloud services where they've already been testing ads inside of their games.
Absolutely. You will own nothing and you will be fucking furious about it. You're fucking out of your mind.
D, you're crazy to think that. You're crazy to think that this is all connected. Guys, I do not think you understand how big the gaming industry actually is.
It's larger than the movie. Oh, it's probably
The U.S. entertainment sector is the largest in the world, and gaming alone is 3 times. It makes 3 times as much as film and music combined. It's still young. It's still easy to manipulate, and there is a lot of money on the table.
We haven't even gotten to hyper-realistic AI cat girls. That's the big one. And we're not even there yet.
Anybody who can wedge themselves in that ecosystem, especially if they can figure out how to force ads to do whatever they want, whether it be like it or not.
Yep.
So when I see this, I do not see a bunch of different trends happening.
Actually, he has a very
You're gonna get ads on
iron stance.
whenever we're old. Not even old. Whenever we're 50, we're gonna be
It's very similar to very similar to Chin, honestly. Iron stance and shoot all hand style karate.
Is helping to push this entire AI situation. No, it just so happens that, well, it's just following the perfect spot for these companies to be able to take advantage of it. And of course, they're going to be taking advantage of it. That's exactly what they're doing right now. It's where coincidence and opportunity have collided for these guys. And it just so happens that your money, your hobby, and your enjoyment are caught in the middle of it. Ironically, this is happening at the worst possible time for us because the console wars are effectively dead. Exclusivity is largely gone at this point outside
Thank
of
God.
Nintendo.
Yeah,
and
fucking Nintendo.
these guys don't care about pushing their games to be able to make profit. They're trying to profit off of their services and off their hardware.
That's actually a really good point too. I don't know if they're going to profit after the hardware. I'm not sure if I agree with that. But I think that the using services and service fees, that is going to be the new way that companies make money. And I think that the best use case of that and like the I guess like the frame of reference that they use is Valve and how much money they've made with exchange fees, transaction fees with CS:GO. So you have all these people that are able to make tons of money on like these, fractional microtransaction costs that just kind of it's like like how do ants eat something that's really big? Well, they eat it one little bit at a time, right? But eventually, it's gone, and that's what they do.
All the stars are aligning in the wrong way for us at this moment. There is so much money hatting going on in AI right now. This is absolutely crazy. Every single one of these companies has their hand in each other's pockets. If you see where some of this money goes, you see one company gives it to another, that company gives it to another, and then it goes straight back to the source. They're just circling all
It doesn't like it's like Meta or like I have a friend who's like an engineer at Meta from high school together. We were talking about this. It's like basically a human centipede. It is, and it's like numbers going up, numbers going up. Yeah, well, they're
So we can start from here. It's up.
all this wealth, squeezing us as hard as they possibly
No, Hatsu told me, he said, yeah, they came out and they said they're not in wrong. And it's like, okay.
can, try to make as much money off of us as they possibly
We can transition back and mess with those around later.
Is what it feels like. Probably actually exactly.
That's working. That's working very well.
I mean,
It's extremely
NVIDIA
effective.
and Microsoft are the biggest perpetrators here, and both of these guys have cloud gaming services. They have no problem with hardware prices spiking.
Because it all leads into their business model. It fulfills their business model and it accelerates their business model for hardware prices to be basically unapproachable.
Not being able to get into higher end hardware. That sounds great to these guys.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue to expand. They're going to continue to invest. And they're doing that off the back of investments they're getting from private and public investors and also from the government.
Yeah, exactly. We're paying them to price us out of our own hobbies. We're paying them so they can scrape our data, sell it back to us in a censored way that reinforces their own fucking control. And we're supposed to be happy.
It's insane. These guys effectively have
I'm done doing it. No, you're
over
not.
the hardware industry.
No, you're not.
Because, well, they can
You're
just
not
order
done.
them out of stock.
It's only
Well, right now
started.
this is limited to higher end hardware. It's going to trickle down to lower end hardware.
It
I've
will.
seen some people talk about, well, I'll just buy DDR4, it's cheaper. You're not the only one thinking that.
Oh wow! Instead of 5, I'm gonna get 4. Oh my god, this guy's so smart.
And because this scarcity is largely inauthentic and inorganic and is being controlled, well, that means that they're just going to affect those markets regardless. The same thing goes to console markets as well. They can use the exact same excuse. No, because of data center expansion, sorry, the GPUs and the RAM or whatever else is too expensive for this console, it's gonna have to be more expensive. They're gonna push it there too. And the reason why is because these guys do not need hardware to be able to make money off eBay. It's not necessary to them. They can farm.
And that's a good thing too, by the way. It's a good thing that, I mean, cloud gaming is going to make technology more accessible to everybody. It will be an improvement and it will be better for everybody. But the problem is that the approach to getting there is very unpleasant and painful. That's it.
The people who can afford it, and then they can push those who can't into subscription services and cloud services where they can feed you ads or you pay monthly sub.
For what costs? Well, I think that again, like you guys, this is really important to keep in mind, right? Is that for a lot of us here, we are 1%. We are 1% in regards to a lot of you guys make a lot of money. You know, I generally have an older audience. This is a tech and computer, you know, video game based channel. So you have a lot of people that are like involved in, you know, that kind of stuff. A lot of people make money, right? And I, you know, a lot of people. Like every time if I go to an event, the people that own the business probably fucking know me. And so that's it. There's no people. There you go. And so I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying there's a very high ratio of those people. So what my point is that obviously for us, the ability to invest in, and also like a lot of you guys, like we play video games a lot, right? Let's say, and we're older, so you have more resources generally. This is general. I'm saying general, not everybody, generally, okay? Relax. So because of that, you might still want to be an enthusiast. You might still want to invest in the highest hardware and do all this stuff yourself. But what I'm saying is that for an average person, for a lower income person, that person will be able to access higher quality technology at a lower cost with cloud gaming in probably, I would say, 10 years. And I think less than that.
Doesn't that just sound lovely? Now, I'm sure it sounds great to these guys. I'm sure they're all in on it. And I'm sure one of those rooms would probably sound pretty good to me. But this entire thing is incredibly risky for them to do. Not because anybody's actually going to come in and try to interrupt it. That's not going to happen, at least not for a while. But they're under the assumption
that they're not going to be able to because all the companies inside of the ecosystem are already kind of inside the same game. And a lot of companies also, these big companies push for regulations that pull the ladder up and make getting into a market very hard to do. So it's not like somebody can just start going in and selling RAM, let's say, for example, because there's probably like 7,000 regulations for it that are created by these big companies in order for them to maintain their monopoly.
The customers are going to continue to chase them wherever they go.
It's getting there, it's getting there.
Not necessarily what's going to happen. See, the question they need to be asking themselves is what happens when players go in a different direction entirely? Because that's exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Not to interrupt the flow of this video, but man, it really sucks that we even have to be talking about any of this. We should be celebrating what this industry is capable of, especially with the Game Awards right around the corner. I've been eyeing a second playthrough of Expedition 33, and every time I think about that game, how confidently it ignored all of the noise, how it cuts through everything, all of this industry's nonsense. It reminds me of how things could be, how things should be, and it also reminds me of how disgusting these executives are who want to drag this hobby into the mud for profit. I genuinely believe that these major hardware and software companies think raising the price floor is going to guarantee them victory. If people can't afford new hardware, they're just going to default to cloud or whatever subscription.
They will. I think that's what will happen. I do. I think actually that is what will happen. Like, I know people say like, oh, I won't do that. I think that's a lot.
Service pipelines they want to shove us into, and once players are trapped in those ecosystems, well, then these companies have full control. They can raise the prices, they can tier their access, they can lock features behind a monthly fee, they can do what
they're gonna Netflix you, right? They're gonna get you in Netflix in 2008. Oh my God, everybody had it, right? Like we all had Netflix back then, or our parents had it. And then slowly over time, the shitification of the product happens. And I think that's where things are going to go with something like cloud gaming. I think at the beginning it's going to be great, and then I think that you're going to have artificial you know, like let's say latency increases, right? Like if you want a fiber optic connection or like a higher, you know, like precision, you know, like machine or connection, you're going to have to pay more money. And then if you want certain games, you're going to have to pay more money. And then suddenly you're getting piecemealed and dissected until you're paying like $50 a month, right? And this is what happened with Game Pass, is that Microsoft invested a tremendous amount of money into making Game Pass a really great deal and a tremendous value. It was a great deal and a tremendous value. I think it was. I had Game Pass, I think it's amazing. But here's what happens, is that after you establish that market, after you control the market, now you can raise the price and you don't have as many competitors in the space that are really going to, like, you're going to lose business to. You can just do that. And that's what happens.
Whenever they want, they can slide ads in with almost no friction. That is the future that these AAA publishers want. Yep. Now the problem for them is that I don't think this plan is actually going to work in the real world. It's built on the assumption that everybody needs the highest end experience, that we are all desperate for cutting edge AAA titles and will follow the industry wherever it tries to push us, but that ignores the biggest risk in their entire strategy, one that is already happening right now. What if people don't buy in? What if players stop chasing high-end entirely? What if they split into a different direction, a shift that ends up starving AAA while fueling the rise of studios who can thrive without expensive hardware?
I do think,
I'm going to give you guys two business tips.
I do think this will happen also as well, is that, and you're already seeing this happen, where smaller indie studios are able to bring out video games at a infinitely lower price point. Well, not infinitely lower, but like, you know, $10 versus $70 price point. And I think they've been able to capture a huge market of people.
It's demand destruction and market bifurcation. Demand destruction is when prices stay so high for so long that people just stop buying the product altogether. Market bifurcation is when a market splits into two groups that behave completely differently. Haves and have-nots in this case, if you will, and we're seeing both of these happen in the gaming industry right now, even if the shift has been relatively slow. Just take a look at Steam's latest hardware survey. NVIDIA's brand new 50 series GPUs, they're not even in the top 10, they're not even in the top 15. The 5070 sits at number 60, the 5060 is 22nd, and all their other high-end cards, they might as well not even exist at all. The top 5 are dominated by lower-end 30 and 40 series cards.
Well, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like, I mean, these higher-end cards are really expensive. I mean, they are. They're really expensive. Like, an average person doesn't have $1,000 to spend on a graphics card. I mean, really, like, that's insane.
GTX 1650.
Like, look at this. Like, I mean, yeah, and at 3060, I think, yeah, you can run a lot of things with a 3060. Especially with DLSS. I know people don't like it, but I think people probably like DLSS more than spending $2,000, especially whenever they don't have $2,000.
6-year-old GPU is still holding strong.
No, it is.
People are not upgrading, and when they do, they're choosing the cheapest, most sensible option they can, either because of cost or because they don't see any reason to chase higher-end hardware anymore. I think this industry has misread this. I think that they're looking at these numbers and assuming that people want the highest end hardware but simply can't afford it. Yeah, but that doesn't really track with reality.
Well, I think it is true that people can't afford it, but the thing is that affordability is always a spectrum. Like, the reality is that for like a 3060 is going to be able to run like 90% of games, right? 95% of games. And so are you really going to make a very large purchasing decision for being able to play a handful of video games with a different water texture? There's a huge diminishing returns there. Huge. And like for maybe a guy that's a computer enthusiast or something like that, yeah, they're gonna do that. But for most other people, they're not. 3060 can run Megabulk at 8K. I believe that. I do, I believe that. I want to say that I did rendering for my PC, my stream PC. That's the one. Computer graveyard over there. But the blue one, the one I had, it had a 2080 Ti, and I had that computer from like 2020 or 2021 up until like 3 weeks ago. Not a single problem.
Switch 2 broke.
No, it was blue. That way the temperature of the computer would stay low. You can get a red computer and that one goes really fast, but it can overheat because it's red. Or you can get a blue computer, and that one doesn't go as fast, but it doesn't overheat.
Console sales records by selling over 2.4 million units in only 3 months. And nobody believes that that's cutting-edge hardware. People bought it because they wanted the games, not the specs. And beyond that, these companies are operating under the idea that players want to upgrade just to be able to play the latest AAA releases. But why would anybody want to do that anymore? Why would we want to spend thousands of dollars on a new rig or a console when these games come out broken day one? Borderlands 4 is still a performance nightmare with the developers issuing apology after apology. Monster Hunter
There's no excuse. There's no excuse for it to be bad. Expedition 33 was made with Unreal 5. Monster Hunter was total garbage. The original Dragon's Dogma wasn't like this. You have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Like, you know what I wish Jeff Keighley would do? I wish that he would make a category for video games for optimization or making a game accessible for like lower end systems. I feel like it would be kind of like more of a tech award. But I think that companies like, Warhorse, right, that made Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I really think they deserve a tremendous amount of acknowledgement for that. And you have now also Where Winds Meet. There's another one too. And, maybe for the Shame Awards, we'll have to do the opposite, right? Like, is the winner going to be, geez, guys, is it going to be Borderlands 4 or Monster Hunter Wilds? Who's the biggest loser here?
Wilds take all of its momentum and its reputation because it couldn't run properly either. These are two of the biggest AAA releases this year, and both of them are defined by the same problems. There has been a sharp decline in sales across the board for AAA because people just aren't impressed anymore, and that's the part that these companies don't really seem to understand. Is that
the issue also is like a lot of these AAA games, they are making graphical enhancements, but the enhancements are so granular that really people can't really hardly see them. And you're having, and I think that also graphical fidelity is overrated. Stylistic lighting is underrated. Two great games that emphasize this are three, actually. Wuthering Waves, that's the weakest example. My strongest example is Elden Ring. If you actually look at Godfrey, you look at their character models, they look like shit.
The way he said it, looked like shit.
The actual fidelity pixel count for a lot of the things in Elden Ring are very mediocre. But because of the lighting, colors, and shading in the game, it looks incredible. And the other one that's very new, that some people said in chat, Where Winds Meet. Incredible, amazing game. Awesome graphics, but the fidelity is very low. But it's made up for because of the lighting, the shading, and the style of the game.
Games don't justify the hardware. The hardware stops selling.
Sure. Yeah,
the hardware stops selling. The high-end market freezes, and AAA is going to be the first thing to suffocate.
Next style. Yeah.
What I think is happening right now, and it's only going to get worse for the AAA industry, is that with these rising hardware prices, especially if they bleed into the next generation of consoles, it's going to effectively put a stop to high-end gaming entirely. They are building a price wall that people cannot afford. And in doing so, they're going to
I think that you're always going to have high-end gaming be popular, but I do think that the gaming, like high-end PC gaming, it is probably on a timer.
Destroy their own demand. Players do not trust AAA enough to be able to justify.
I think it's like a 15-year, 20-year timer, but it's still a timer.
A game, let alone $8,000 console or $4,000 PC upgrade, and if they're not buying the hardware or the games, well, why would we be interested in the services that are tied to them? What is the point of cloud gaming or subscriptions if the games on those services aren't worth our time? All that I think is actually going to happen is that this market is going to split. They're going to accidentally fuel the rise of AAA even further, which honestly is this industry in its purest form. Smaller teams, lower budgets, higher creativity, more original ideas, and no need to chase higher-end hardware. These games are targeting mid-range or even older systems by design. And when you look at what people are actually playing this year, Expedition 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Escape from Duck, Megabonk,
I bet you can probably run, I bet a 2080 Ti could run Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at approaching 60 FPS. Easily. I'm guessing. Yeah. There you go. That's insane. That's ridiculous.
And even Stellar Blade and Arc Raiders don't need a 5090 to run well.
Arc
People
Raiders is
can get
super
everything
dope.
they want without buying any of this high-end hardware at all. The funny thing is, when you zoom out on all this, there really is only two futures that are ahead of us right now. One is the one with the corporations, one is the one both players are actually right now. The corporate one
I actually do think that there will be a growing demand for cloud gaming. I do think so, and I think that cloud gaming for a casual player will actually be a solution that has a large, sizable audience, and I think that that audience over time will eclipse PC and also console
Spin
gaming.
kick.
I think that it will probably always be mobile gaming that will be the biggest one because everybody has a phone and it's a common denominator. But after that, you're probably going to have cloud gaming be the most popular of the three because of its accessibility and the lower price point it's going to be.
Obviously, it's expensive hardware that nobody can buy. Cloud gaming is the affordable alternative. Subscriptions stacked on top of subscriptions. Ads baked straight into the experience. A world where every part of gaming is metered, tracked, monetized, and controlled.
Oh boy.
That is the endpoint that these guys have been building.
Yeah, Hardware Labs, this is about to stay in video.
Because in that
It's gonna say
future,
display.
they own everything, we own nothing. But there's been another future that's been forming underneath their feet this entire time. And it's one that these guys just haven't planned for. It's a future built by double
Basic plan set.
tier teams that have been making incredible games that run on any hardware that people actually own. A future where the most popular game doesn't require a $4,000 rig or a $1,000 console.
What?
A future where creativity outperforms fidelity, where studios that are willing to take a risk end up defining the industry more than the one.
Creativity has always outperformed fidelity, by the way. You want to know the best example of that? Minecraft.
Things that are burning $500
People just didn't realize it.
another forgettable game.
Yep.
And I really think that this entire thing should terrify these AAA publishers. They should not be trying to lead into it. If these players stop upgrading, if they stop buying into high end, then AAA is the one that becomes an endangered species.
That's true.
Budget stop.
That's actually a very good point. Is that AAA gaming and its necessity, it does rely on continually increasing the quality of products or the quality of the systems.
It can sense the audiences shrink, and the only people that are going to be left right are the teams that never needed cutting edge hardware to begin with. Because at the end of the day, we're the ones that decide where this industry goes. And if the industry starts building a future that we don't want, well, we simply just walk away.
Yep.
I have a strong feeling that outside of Grand Theft Auto 6, if it actually releases, next year is probably going to play out just the same as this year. There's just not going to be a lot of.
I think he's right. I think we're going to have a number of dark horse, incredibly very good, indie games, and I think that those indie games will keep gaming going. But it doesn't look like there's any AAA game that's coming out next year, except for like maybe a handful that are like super amazing.
Winners in AAA. I mean, more than half of the nominees for Game of the Year this year were all independent or indie studios. And that's not just these Wolverine awards. No, these are also some of the most beloved games by players, and also some of the highest selling games that we've seen all year. And that's going to leave these guys with not a lot of other options. I know some people are probably going to say, oh, well, then they'll just start making AA games themselves. They'll just stuff these services with AA, and they'll stuff them with indie games, but that really doesn't make a lot of sense.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah, of course not. The reason why they're AA is because the studios don't have the resources to make a AAA game. Like, that's the reason.
What is the point of your subscription service or your cloud service if, one, I have hardware, so I can play those games regardless anyway, and two, those games are cheap to begin with.
Yeah.
Why would I want to pay $30 a month plus to be able to play games that I could buy for $15 to
Yeah, it's like $5, exactly.
Doesn't make any sense. I mean, Game Pass I know right now is about $30. I can guarantee you it's probably going to climb to 35 or 45 next year. Who knows how that's going to go. And that's more than most people spend on video games in a month. It just doesn't make any sense. Nobody needs it. I don't need it. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, it's very.
This is an incredibly
and I think also the other thing too is that, like, you're going after an audience that if the price point is too high, doesn't exist. Because the people that have a lot of free time probably don't have a lot of disposable income, and the people that have a lot of disposable income probably don't have a lot of free time. So the ubiquitous nature of, oh my God, you can play 150 games. These are people who struggle to finish one game. So like, where is your, like, what is your actual market? I don't know.
Tourist path for the games industry.
That's a problem with subscriptions.
And it's also something that really shouldn't be supported. I just don't see a lot of movement in Arsenal. And helping to push those prices higher, you're starving. I just don't see a lot of people that are chasing some of these new releases. Sure, we see some movement, we see some buzz. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but a lot of these AAA games, the minute that they come out, the hype around them dies. You just stop here.
What was the last AAA game? I guess like Battlefield 6 did really well. Besides that, when was the last AAA game that came out that was like a success? I mean, Ghost of Yotai was decent. Yeah. Arc Raiders. Would you say Arc Raiders is a AAA game? I wouldn't. I didn't classify it as that personally. Wukong. I feel like it's a Chinese studio. It's a different grading. It's a different grading mechanism.
Hearing about them entirely. Battlefield 6, I think is probably the only one that I could point to this year that has actually kind of survived for the most part. But Monster Hunter Wilds, that game just absolutely tanked after its first one. They haven't been able to sell. I don't even know if they even sold 1 million copies past the first 10 that they sold in that 1 month. That is
Let's move back here.
I mean, the game
It's for
Monster Hunter
movement.
Wilds just has so many problems, right? I mean, we could get into it, but yeah.
That is not good, man. That is not good. And when we're starting to see equipment dive off the cliff like this, you're going to have to come down to meet those players. And if you're not willing to do that, you're in a lot of trouble. I can tell you that right
Well,
now.
you're not going to be able to make your money back because your activatable market, your market is not large enough in order for you to make your money back. It's very simple. Like, I remember I learned this. It sounds stupid, but like I learned this when I was making golf bits in Burning Crusade as a blacksmith. And I was thinking to myself, like, okay, well, how many people really want these? How many people are there really that can buy these? And like the amount of money that I'm investing into this, am I really going to, if you take this fixed cost and you amortize this out of, or like spread it over, the amount of different items that you need to sell in order to make the money back, you're never actually going to make the money back out of this. And like eventually, I think that they're going to hit that same point too. Is that the activatable market will be so low that you can't even there's not even a business model that's a winning business model. It just doesn't work.
To know, what hardware do you guys use? I want to know what people are actually using. Because I can see a Steam survey, and I talk to people in our community Discord. If you guys don't engage in our community Discord, you should. It's absolutely fantastic people, but most people there are on lower end hardware. A lot of people that I know outside of myself, the only reason why I have a rig as great as I have or as expensive as I have is because of all the work I do with editing and recording and all that stuff. Outside of that, I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't get it. Are you kidding me?
True.
I'd be playing on
Very
something
true.
else entirely. I'd probably still be playing on the 2080 or 3080 that I have behind me. But yeah, I'm really interested to see where all this stuff goes. The one thing that I find really interesting about this, if you're a AAA publisher or if you're just a bigger publisher in the games industry at all, I would be really interested to see how they feel about a company like Microsoft having the influence they have right now. Because they're making the industry incredibly uncomfortable for a lot of these other companies.
Yeah.
Just as a byproduct of what they're doing on their AI side. All the investments that they're making, all the money that they're putting into.
I mean, yeah, of course they're going to focus on AI because, like, making video games, like, the problem is, like, the ceiling for AI right now is theoretically infinite, but the ceiling for selling video games is finite. And I think that they've been at that ceiling for a while. So obviously they're going to go into something else.
All these different data centers and things like that, the increasing of prices of hardware specifically pretty much across the board, that becomes a threat for a lot of these other companies. So I'm wondering what their perspective on this is. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter.
Oh.
And make sure you guys come back later this week. I think I have more videos that I have to do.
Oh, wow.
This one just kind of popped out about nowhere. I was like, I gotta talk about this. But anyway, stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. I'll catch you guys later.
I feel like this is going to be a big one, and I think it's going to continue getting worse over time too.
Guys,
for pricing until you have affordable cloud gaming, I think pricing is just going to get harder and harder. I don't think that you're going to see, RAM prices or any of that go down anytime soon. Because, again, I don't really see these companies trying to change, trying to change anything else, right? They're probably just not going to do that just because it's something very short. So, yeah, Amazon probably has the same logic chasing AI, which is why they're letting Twitch run wild. I think that's probably true. I do. I think it's probably true. And they don't really care. And I think that really this is the holy grail for all of these tech companies is to approach AI and to have a foothold in the AI ecosystem. And if they're able to do that, then they're going to be having a great time. They're going to be having an amazing time, great time, and they're going to be fucking trillionaires. But if they don't do that, then they could go the way of Yahoo, right? Do you want to be Yahoo? No, you don't. So I think that's really the big reason why. And money printers eventually? Yeah, I guess so. And yeah, anyway, give the video a sub, give Legendary Drops a like. This is a really good video, and I think he's talking about this. Again, I think that there are a lot of just logistical and structural reasons why this is happening. And I think realistically, like an overnight price increase, I mean, how much RAM can you realistically make, right? Because you have a whole supply chain that has to change because of this thing. It's hard to do that, really. Have you checked your Twitch recap? No, I haven't. First time, I felt like I actually spent myself a gaming with some of these discussions. Yeah, no, I thought this was a really good video, man. And again, I think it's one of these topics that the more that, because gaming and technology are the same thing, right? I mean, they are. And so the more that you talk about gaming, and especially now that, we already had this happen with crypto, for example, is that, you have a lot of gaming stuff that's now being encroached on by crypto in the past, and now it's AI. I think that, yeah, it's like you have to understand this stuff, and if you don't, you're going to have a really bad time. That's really it. It's unavoidable, like Yahoo? Yeah, I guess so. Space Marine 2. This is actually pretty funny. I'm glad to see people calling this stuff out.
I can't believe it. The Space Marine 2 developer just stepped forward and just gave away the secret on how to make a successful game. Get this.
Imagine that.
Just make a good game.
Yeah.
You know, with as many failures that we've seen in AAA, I'm surprised that none of these companies haven't just folded. Beg for mercy. Gamers, I'm so sorry. We need your money. We're going broke.
The funny thing about this is that this was recorded before yesterday, which was when the Concord studio shut down.
We're gonna go back to doing what we were supposed to be doing in the first place. We've seen colossal failures to epic proportions, likely to the tune of billions of dollars wasted over just the last couple of years, and this year's not even done yet.
Yeah, the video game companies are fighting against inflation by deleting hundreds of millions of dollars systematically by making terrible video games.
You Dragon Age. It's such a good time to be a gamer. The best games are succeeding, the worst games, the soulless attempts at stealing our money are falling flat on their face. Developers are out there pushing back against societal pressures and focusing on making great games because that's what matters to players.
Imagine that.
There are those that are out there that just don't understand what's going on. They don't see the differences between games that succeed and games that fail. They don't understand what it takes to make a successful game. But lucky for them, Space Marine 2 developer has stepped forward to shed some light. Before that,
Let's see.
sponsor. New World of Tournament just launched on consoles and is already making waves. It's
Okay.
available now on PlayStation 5,
Nice.
Xbox
Let
Series
me get
X,
back to the
and
item.
PC. If you love action RPGs, then this is something that you're not going to want to miss. Set on the island of Eternum, this
Man.
world is filled with mystery, danger, and endless adventure.
How is New World doing nowadays?
Skill-based, real-time
How many
combat,
people are playing it?
swords, guns, and even sorcery. Whether you're exploring solo or teaming up with friends, it's your choice how you want to play. Without a strict class system that's weighing you down, you can fully customize your
50K players?
It's all about how you equip and upgrade your abilities to shape your own playstyle. In the world of Eternum,
Oh, yeah, you can swim
so
now.
much to explore, from stunning landscapes to various
I forgot all about that.
powers. Best part, crossplay means you can join forces with your friends no matter where they're playing.
Alright, let's get these sized up proper so I don't get the ratio messed up.
What are you waiting for? New World of Tournament is available now. Go grab it on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, or PC and dive into the adventure. It's been a rocky couple years for the AAA industry. Ubisoft has completely collapsed upon themselves, unable to turn a profit since Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Xbox's Redfall failed, and
thing is that nowadays when the games fail, it's like back in the day, a game that fails is like just like a firecracker, and it's like pop, okay, it's gone. Now it's like a grenade. It's $100 million bomb that just blows up, and it takes the entire studio. Oh, sorry, a $400 million bomb. Yeah, it blows up the entire studio. Exactly.
Taste change, trends die out. There are a lot of reasons outside of a game being categorically bad that can cause it to fail. And while those outside factors may be the case with some games, I don't think it's the case for many of the games we've been seeing today. Recently, in an article written by Wesley Poole of IGN titled Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 Dev says big budget games are failing in part because teams are overscoping their projects.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Teams are focusing on the hair physics rather than the game feed. Oh, look how the water moves. Oh yeah? Look how my character moves. That's the problem.
Great games do well. Wesley spoke with Saber Interactive Chief Creative Officer Tim Willits about the issues the game industry is facing today and the success of Space Marine 2. Wesley writes, Concord, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, Star Wars Outlaws, Final Fantasy 16. The list of big budget video game failures is growing longer each month.
It sure
AAA
is.
publishers struggling to make a dent in the dominance of older, more established players in this most brutal of markets.
Well, okay, so we can go back here. Final Fantasy 16 was a big budget failure? What? It didn't sell well? Just only because it was on PS5? Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, it's fair to say, like, because Square Enix, you're right, I remember the investor report, and they did say that it didn't sell well. However, I think that's also compared to, like, other mainline Final Fantasy titles, and on top of that, like, I think Final Fantasy 16 not selling well is in a completely different universe than Concord not selling well, or Suicide Squad not selling well. And also, like, established IP? No, fuck that. This is an established IP, this is an established IP, Final Fantasy is an established IP. The only non-established IP is Concord.
Markets. Throughout it all, massive hits have come out of nowhere. One of those is Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, developed by World War.
Any argument that you can make for Concord being popular or, like, you know, like having anything stacked against it is immediately deleted by deadline.
Z and SnowRunner Studio, Saber Interactive, and published by Focus Entertainment. Of course, Space Marine 2 benefited from the strength of the Warhammer 40K brand, which has been carefully managed by Games Workshop and is about as big as it's ever been. True, but still, Space Marine 2's breakout success came as a surprise even to its developer, as Saber Chief Creative Officer Tim Willits told IGN in a recent interview. As the video game industry comes to terms with high-profile failures of the likes of Concord and Suicide Squad, what enabled Space Marine 2 to succeed? Both Concord and Suicide Squad took years to develop at the cost of hundreds of millions of dollars, and launched into genres some say gamers had long since moved on from. It is Saber's biggest ever video game undertaking and took 4 years to develop, a significant cycle as far as AAA production goes, although, as we've seen with Concord and Suicide Squad, it's an outlier. Indeed, we've seen huge hits from video games that have had similar...
Alright guys, cut this short. Thank you for joining, for those who's here for this little chill stream. And we'll continue this with the inks tomorrow. But I'm glad I got this character blocked out. This is good, this is good. And yeah, that's what we got for today. Alright y'all, tune out. Thank you for joining. We'll be back again soon. Catch you again. If you like what you're seeing as far as the devlog progress, let me know. Drop some comments. Let me know how you feel about everything. And that's it for tonight. Have a good night. Hit me up soon. Peace.
Mm-hmm.